Okay guys, what is up? Today we're going to be talking about the air-to-air mode of the F-18 Hornet. Particularly we're going to be talking about range well scan. We have other modes, ACM modes, air combat maneuvering. We'll talk about those in a later video. Today we're going to be talking about range well scan, so we have a lot to cover. So let's get started here. Alright, first thing we're going to do is come down here, throw our master arm switch to arm, and we're going to select the air-to-air. Okay. Now you can see here on the screen it automatically selected a Sidewinder for me, and I'm pretty sure nobody wants to listen to that sound the entire video, so I'm going to go ahead and pick an AIM 7 so we don't got to listen to that. Okay, so that is that, and then I'm going to come over here, and this is our radar screen, guys. And I've actually already got it. Now this is what it would look like when you first get here. The first thing I like to do is declutter the screen of this attitude and attitude and vector indicators here. So what I like to do is come to data down here and just hit this declutter button just like that, and they go away. And I come back and I'm back to my original screen by pressing data again. Okay, so data to go in, data to come back out. Now let's see, what else do we want to talk about here? A radar scan basically has two aspects to it, right? You got your vertical scan, your horizontal scan, and it's up to you as a pilot to decide how you're going to scan this. You're going to scan it high, you're going to scan low, you're going to scan tight, you know, keep these angles real tight, do 20-degree scans, 140-degree scans. These are all things you're going to have to decide as a pilot, but for now let's go over how this stuff works. This here that I just changed to 1B, this is the Hornet's I guess it's an elevation control. Yeah, it's kind of a Hornet elevation control here. There is another one. We'll talk about that in a second too. So basically I want you to imagine a cake slice or a pie slice coming out of the tip of the plane, but it's very thin, vertically thin. Okay, not horizontally, vertically thin. And I will have some pictures just to clarify this, but just bear with me for now. And then the more you go up, you go 2B, that slice of cake or pie gets a little thicker. Gets vertically thicker, right? 4B it gets thicker, 6B it gets thicker. Okay, so basically, let's see what that looks like. At 1B, it would look something like this. At 2 boxes, it would look something like this. Four boxes would look something like this. And finally, 6 boxes would look something like this. Alright, so I'll just explain this, just so it's not just a picture. So obviously this is your first box, right? And let's just watch it in quick motion. 1 box, 2 box, 4 box, 6 box. Okay, so you can obviously see that 6 boxes is going to cover more ground than 1 box, right? Pretty simple stuff, guys, right? Alright, so now you're seeing how the boxes control elevation to a certain degree, okay? There is another elevation control, like I said, but we'll get to that in a second. For now, just remember the boxes. Next thing we're going to do is the horizontal side-to-side scans, and that's going to be controlled down here, okay, where you see the 140 degrees here. If I press this button once, I'm going to get to 20 degrees. And you see the plane's just going to be looking in front of me, 20-degree sweeps. Okay, I can go 40, I can go 60, I can go 80, and 140. Let's have a look at this here. You can see this is the horizontal scan, right? 140 degrees, 80, 60, 40, 20, and then the same thing on this side, 20, 40, 60, 80, 140, right? So basically, like obviously 20-degree scan, you're only getting this little sliver of the sky, right? 40 degrees is going to give you some more, 60 some more, 80 some more, and then 140. Right? Now, this is just 1 box, right? Remember how we talked about the boxes? Imagine 6 of these. stacked on top of each other, and you have to do this 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 times. Now, the disadvantage of the 140 degree scan over 6 boxes is that it's going to take a long time, because it's going to scan every single box 140 degrees. And you see this number, I forgot to mention, that's the number to the right of the 6B. This is the box that it's currently scanning out of 6. Okay, so right now it's on box number 4 and it's doing 140 degree scan. Box 5, box 6, 140 degree scan. Box 140 degree scan. Now watch when I hit it to 20 degrees, watch how fast it flies through these. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just flying through because I'm doing real tighter scans, right? So that's what that is. Naturally, if you're looking for something, you have no idea where your targets are, you're going to be on a 6-box pattern at 140 degrees. Okay. Let's say AWACS calls you up and says, hey, you got a guy right in front of you, man, and for whatever reason you're not picking him up on radar. You're going to throw this to, like, let's say 2 boxes, and you're going to go 20 degrees right in front. Okay, where is this guy? Right in front, because AWACS is telling you he's right in front. You know, maybe you go to 40 degrees if you don't find him there. Right, you start searching. You start increasing your boxes. Give me 4 boxes, 40 degrees. You start looking for this guy, right? Let's say you don't have AWACS, you're flying through, you know, some hostile airspace. You have no idea what's in front of you. You want to see as much of the sky as possible. You're going to go 6 boxes at 140 degrees, and you're going to search basically as much of the sky as you can, looking for targets. All right. The other thing I kind of want to talk about here is the range on the screen. For now, you see I'm only displaying about 40 miles. So this here, this line across the bottom, this is 0 miles. And imagine that the plane is right here. This is the tip of the plane right here, and it's projecting this radar out. Okay. The reason we have this little section, imagine that the nose of the plane was here, and then they took it and they stretched it to here and to here, so you get a square shape where you should actually have kind of a cone shape. Okay. And that concept will become important in a second. Alright guys, so imagine, yeah, the nose of the plane is right here, so you got 0, this notch here is going to be 10, 20, 30, and this is 40. Okay, you can increase this range that you can see here by going up to 80 to 160, and if you press it again, you're back to 5, 10, 20, 40, and so on. And you can come down too. If you overshoot, you can go 20, you can go 40, right? So the important concept I want to talk about here is that this does not mean that your radar beam or radiation from your radar is only going out 40 miles. Okay, the radiation from your radar is going on forever. Alright, there's probably UFOs somewhere in the universe that are picking up your radar beam. Okay, it's just going on forever. All this is doing is showing you 40 miles in front of you. You're just setting the view distance of your screen here. Okay. So we got that. What else do we want to talk about here? Let's talk about the ghost images. Alright, so here you can see that, you know, let's pretend I had a little target, and I will go find us some targets so we can talk about that in a second too. But let's say you had a target here and it didn't stay on very long, right? So you found a guy, and after 2 seconds he kept disappearing on you, and you wanted to keep him longer. What you would do is come to the data screen, and you're going to press this 8 at the bottom. Remember when the last time you came to the data screen was to do that declutter thing at the very beginning? Well, we're coming right back into that same screen, and at the top we're going to be looking at this 8. This is called target aging. Okay. What this means is if you find a target here, your radar, basically the radar is going to keep a slight history of everything it finds so it can show you on the screen. If it didn't do that, every time a radar beam hit something, it would automatically just disappear. It would show it to you for like a fraction of a second, and then it would disappear. So Right now the radar is going to keep those images on that screen for you for 8 seconds, as you can see at the top. Maybe you want it longer. Okay, you can click that button, you can get 16. You click it again, you get 32. That's the maximum. You click it again, you go back to 2. 4, 8, 16, 32. Those are your options. Okay. There's always disadvantage to both. 2 is way too short, 32 might be too long. Okay, just because you pick a guy up on radar here and he stays there for 32 seconds doesn't mean he's still there on the radar for 32 seconds. Right? You picked him up, let's say you picked up a MiG-29 here, and you're keeping him on the radar for 32 seconds, right? And you know, he gets an RWR warning and he just noses down and hides behind a mountain. Okay, 30 seconds is a long time to a fighter jet, right? He's gonna get away in 32 seconds, and you're gonna be sitting there looking out into the sky still thinking he's there at 32 seconds. He's already down in a mountain doing a 180-degree turn coming at you. Okay, so you got to be careful how you use this stuff. If I'm chasing a big slow transport, then yeah, I'll put 32 degrees on, or 32 seconds on. Alright, I'm going to press data to go back to the old screen. We can talk a little bit about the symbology, I guess you're seeing here. I think we already mentioned the operational up here. This tells you that the radar is operational. The RWS tells you that we're in RWS mode. This 285, this is your current speed, and 058 is your current Mach. Down here, 15930, this is your current altitude, and I believe this is your bearing here at 307. One other thing we can talk about here is the high interleave button you see here. It's non-functional as of right now. It doesn't do anything. Basically, if you ever flew the F-15, you should be somewhat familiar with this functionality. It's basically called the pulse repetition frequency, and if I had to explain it really simply, it's basically the frequency at which radiation comes out of your radar dish. Alright, so you can cycle it between high, medium, and interleaved, and basically high is the most long range, but it's best suited for high closure targets. Okay, the high frequency has difficulty detecting targets at low and medium aspects. Okay, medium has a lesser range, but it's best suited for low closure rate targets. Medium range also gives you better all aspect detection, but like we said, it has a lower range. Alright, and the last functionality here is you can put it onto interleaved, and interleaved means the plane will just automatically switch between high and medium frequencies. Okay, so it'll just go quick, high, medium, high, medium, high, medium. And if you remember the F-15, you can actually see that on the bottom of the F-15 radar, high, medium, high, medium. So you get the best of both worlds like that. So yeah, that is the pulse repetition frequency function, which, as I said, is non-functional right now, but I'm sure we'll get it a little later on. Let's see. What else do we talk about? We got this erase function. I can show you how that works in a sec, but I'll just explain it here. Let's say you're scanning the sky here and you have like 40 targets just lighting up your scope here, but you only want the one that's in front of you. Okay, and so what you're going to do is just switch this thing to 20-degree scan. He's looking for only the guys in front of you, and you're going to hit erase. And when you hit that, it erases everything on the screen, and you'll find just the guys that you're looking for. I'll show you an example of that in a second. Alright, let's see. Right, alright, this last part, this is very, very important. If you don't get this, you're going to have a hell of a time finding targets. Right? I'm going to do my best to explain this, and I think I can use those box visuals to show you guys a little bit better. Watch this. I'm going to take the TDC, which is this thing that's moving on the screen right now. This is the throttle designator control. And if you search that in your adjust controls menu, you can program it to whatever you want. You can bind it to whatever keys you're looking for. Okay, once again, it's called the throttle designator control. Now watch this. As I bring it down, watch those numbers. They're going to get real close to each other. Okay. I'm going to pause it here. I just put the TDC right on the nose of the airplane. Okay, and notice I have 1616. What does that mean? This high number 16, this is the highest elevation that I am scanning with my radar at this range, which is 0 miles. Okay, remember I'm set at 40 miles. So at 0 miles, my highest elevation that I'm scanning at my nose is 16,000 feet. And the bottom lowest range I'm scanning is 16,000 feet. That makes sense because I am flying at 16,000 feet, guys. Right? Real close to 16,000 here. Now, so obviously the beam coming out of the nose of my plane is going to be roughly equal to my own altitude. Right? That makes sense. Now watch this. As I slowly move this TDC forward, you're going to see these two numbers. These two numbers are going to start deviating from each other. The 16 is going to start getting larger, and this 16 is going to start getting smaller. We'll talk about what that is in a sec, but just watch it. See, look, 1813, 2011, 25.7, 31.0, and then the negative numbers I'm assuming just mean it's bouncing off the ground. Okay, but this, the highest point that I'm scanning when I'm at, pause it right here, when I'm at the 40 degree point, or sorry, 40 mile range, I'm scanning, the highest altitude I'm scanning is 41,000 feet. Okay, 40 miles in front of me, 41,000 feet. Okay, so if there was a plane in front of me 40 miles out at 45,000 feet, I wouldn't see him. Okay, I can only scan 41,000 feet. Hold on, let's go look at this graphic. We'll come back. I'll try to explain this visually. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this in a more visual way. Let's assume that our plane, our Hornet, is at 16,000 feet. Okay, when I had that TDC right on my nose, it was right here. Okay, so it was scanning right up here, and it was saying the highest elevation point right here and the lowest elevation point right here, and those are 16,000 feet. Okay, because the plane is also at 16,000 feet. So this is what it was scanning. There's a little range right here. Now as I moved the TDC out further, it started to tell me what the maximum altitude was here and what the minimum altitude was here. And then as I moved it out further, it told me what the maximum altitude was here and what the minimum altitude was here. So imagine there was a plane, let's say this is 10 miles ahead of me. Okay, this is obviously not the scale, guys. Okay, so let's just bear with me here. Let's say this is 10 miles out right here, and at 10 miles out I'm at 16. At 10 miles out I can only see let's say 20,000 feet. So this is the maximum at 10 miles, 20,000 feet. If there was a plane flying here at 25,000 feet, you can see my radar is not going to see him. So my TDC is basically saying the maximum height that you can see at 10 miles, man, is 20,000 feet. So if there's a plane at 25,000 feet, I'm not going to see him. He's 5,000 feet above what my radar can see. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that as you move the TDC along on your radar, because when you're looking at your radar screen, it's a top-down view. Okay, you're looking down like this onto this box. So as you move the TDC around, it's showing you the tip and the bottom. Here it's showing you the tip and the bottom. And that's why those numbers on the TDC deviate. As we go further out, they start to get farther away from each other. Okay, so this is the visual representation of what I'm trying to say. So I hope that this was at least a little more helpful in explaining that. Alright, so I hope that was helpful. Should have cleared it up a little bit for you at least. Very difficult to explain. you have 41. So you can see that the 41 is the maximum highest altitude I'm scanning at 40 miles. Okay, and -9, I'm assuming that just means it's bouncing off the ground. Okay, so it's actually 0. Let's try a different example here. Let's say that somebody calls me up, AWACS or whatever, and they're like, hey, you have a plane 10 miles out in front of you, and he is at 30,000 feet. Okay, remember this is my radar. 40, this is 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So at 10 miles in front of me, he is at 30,000 feet. Guess what? I can't see him. I can only see 22,000 feet. Okay, so what on earth do I do in this situation? So the first thing I can do is manually do it, and that means nose my plane up. All right, that's not a great way of doing it. I'm just saying it works, but it's not the right way. The right way to do it is you got this little triangle caret here, and what this is an elevation indicator. So literally what you're doing is pointing your dish in the front of your plane up and down. Now the default keys for this, it's called I believe it's called a radar elevation control in your key bindings. And the default buttons that it works with are the minus and the equal sign right beside your backspace button. So watch what happens as I increase my elevation, as I point my radar up into the sky. See? I was at 22, now I'm at 31. So remember how I said if there was a plane at 10,000 feet at 10 miles at 30,000 feet? Well, now I can see him because I pulled this caret up, I pointed my dish up. So now I can see at 10 miles at 30,000 feet. Okay? If I wanted to, I could go higher. I could point it all the way up to freaking, I guess, 99,000 feet. I don't know what you're looking for at 99,000 feet. You're looking for a space shuttle? I don't know. But the point is you can do it. Alright, so I'm basically controlling this caret as to where my targets are. I can decrease elevation too, obviously. I can look down if the target's below me. I can look up. Okay. And then here's the other thing I mentioned about this caret. Watch as it goes, see, a little bit down, and it goes back up, and it comes down. It's scanning, it's showing you these boxes, 3, 4, and then 5th box it'll go down, and then 6th box it'll go down, and it'll go back up to 1 in a second. There you go, see? So this is the range of the 6 boxes. And as you can see, it is a decent amount of elevation, but it's not enough. You can't fly like this. So you have to play with your elevation controls. Okay, if you're not playing with this elevation control while you're flying, you're not going to find anything, bud. Okay? So, just something to keep in mind. Okay, and you can already see as I'm playing around with this, we're picking up more targets on the screen here. Right? Okay, let's see, what else do we want to talk about? We talked about the erase function. We talked about that stuff. We talked about this. If you press the data button, nothing else here actually works right now. Alright, I can click these all day. They're not programmed in yet because it is early access, so can't do anything with any of this stuff. Let's go back to the screen before. This silent function, this is basically like a standby or a, I don't know if you want to call it like a stealthy radar scan thing. So basically what it is, if you're flying and you don't want to send out a bunch of radar signatures and signals, you don't want to ping everybody, basically what you would do, but you want to know what's going on in front of you, right? So what you do is you put this, let's say 6 boxes at 140 degrees and you go silent, right? You press this button. And basically what it does is it'll send out a beam and it'll scan through the 6 boxes at 140 degrees, and when it's done doing that, it'll just enter standby mode. It'll stop. So it's just going to scan, and it'll do that until the next time you press that button. So it's basically a way to just have one look through the sky and then stop. Okay, so you're not just constantly sending out radiation that I guess can be spotted by someone else. Alright, what else, guys? I think we covered a lot of this stuff, guys. So alright, let's do this. I'm gonna go find us some targets, and once I find them, so we can see some targets on this radar screen, once I find them I'll be right back here. Alright guys, give me one sec. Okay guys, so we're back, and what I have here is a bunch of targets on our scope. You can probably see them out there, maybe not, but they're there. And let's just look at this erase function again real quick, okay? So I can put it to 20 degrees scan. Let's say I just want to see the stuff right in the middle. And I'm just going to erase all of this side stuff. And watch as the radar now just picks up everything in the middle, and it got rid of all the side, I don't know, contacts that I didn't want anymore. So that's how the erase function works. So you can actually erase whatever's on the screen. The other way that's useful is if you were being jammed by somebody and you managed to get close enough to burn through their jammer, then you can erase that information off your radar here. Alright, so that's why that's important. Now what we're going to do is let me lock one of these guys up, and I'll come back as soon as I have him locked up, and we can talk about some HUD symbology. Alright guys, let's have a look here. I found one of these guys, and I've gotten about 4.3 nautical miles away from him, which means I'm well within shooting range. You can see here that this big circle here, this is the bore sight of the missile. We'll talk more about this kind of stuff when I make the actual missiles video. But basically you just want to put this little circle, and if possible the box, into this circle. That little circle, this is a vector indicator for him, which way he's flying. So when it's right on the actual plane, that means one of two things. That means he's either coming towards me or he's going away from me. And I look at this arrow here, and it's telling me that he's flying away from me because it's pointing up. If it was pointing down, I would know he's coming towards me, to the left, and to the right. This here, 170, I'm not entirely sure what the VC means. It could mean vector closing or something like that. It's basically the speed at which I'm closing on him. If it's a positive number, I'm closing on him. If it's a negative number, say it was negative 170, that would mean he's getting away from me. Okay? And the higher this number is, obviously the faster that's happening. Right? So like we talked about, 4.3 is range. Down here you see 7M. This is how many AIM 7 missiles I have. And I have 6 of them. Okay. I think I said that wrong. The 7M is for the AIM 7s, and the 6 is how many I have. Okay. This is our speed, our altitude, our bearing. You can see we got the shoot cue, and let's talk about this little notch here. This notch, you're gonna watch it as it defills the screen here. It'll slowly just start coming up here. I don't want to wait too long. It basically would have started here, and it would have worked its way down, and it would have pushed past this first one. This is maximum range. This is the maximum range at which I can fire my AIM 7 missile. Okay. If I fire it here, it's definitely not going to hit the target. If I fire it here, it's not going to hit the target. Once I fire it past this little triangle, then it has a probability of hitting a target. The probability is still low, because if he does any kind of evasive maneuver, he's going to get away. The longer I wait, the closer this gets to here. This is the minimum range. Okay. After this, I can't fire the missile anyway. The closer it gets to here, the higher my probability of kill. Here, my probability of kill is low. Closer to here, it's high. Okay, and there's also another triangle that's currently hiding under this, I believe, and that is called the range no escape triangle. And what that does is it's basically an indicator telling you that if this plane was flying straight towards you, if he did a 180-degree turn and tried to get away, the missile would still get him. Okay, that's what that's trying to say to you. Alright guys, so I believe that explains all of the HUD symbology. So let's just go ahead and kill this guy and wrap up this video. Fox 1. Missile went stupid. Fox 2. Sorry, Fox 1 again. Missile went stupid. Buy another one. This one's tracking. This one's tracking real nice. Oh, it went stupid in the last second. Alright, there's another one. This guy does not want to die, guys. This guy really wants to go home. Oh, it's not his lucky day though. Alright guys, so that basically wraps up that video. I hope that you guys found this some sort of useful. If there was anything you wanted to see that I missed, let me know. I'll do an updated version of the video as more features come out, and I can add in whatever you guys wanted to see. So I hope you found it useful, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.